And please, Cowboy, take care of me. Mama just went to heaven." The little baby cried in the dust. The baby's wail cut through the morning air like a blade through bone. Jake Morrison pulled his horse to a stop, the sound hitting him somewhere deep in his chest. Crying, a baby crying where no baby should be. He dismounted slowly, boots hitting the dirt with a soft thud. The sound came from behind the blackened skeleton of what used to be a cabin. Charred beams reached toward the sky like broken fingers. Jesus Christ! The infant lay in a wicker basket, no bigger than a loaf of bread. Tiny fists pumped the air, face red and streaked with tears. A blood-stained envelope was clutched against the baby's chest. "Where's your mama, little one?" Jake knelt in the ash and dust, his knees cracking. The baby's cries softened to hiccups. Those eyes, big and blue as summer sky, locked onto his face. "Please, Cowboy, take care of me." Jake's blood went cold. Babies don't talk, don't form words like that. But the voice was clear as church bells, sweet and desperate. "Mama just went to heaven. What the hell?" Jake whispered, but the baby only stared at him with those impossible eyes. No more words came, just soft whimpering that broke his heart clean in two. He lifted the child carefully, supporting the tiny head. The envelope crinkled against his fingers. Blood had dried brown across the white paper, and someone had written, "For whoever finds her," in shaky handwriting. Her. Jake looked down at the baby. Pink dress, lace around the collar. A girl, then. Someone had dressed her up nicely before leaving her here to die. The cabin told its story in smoke stains and char. This was no accident. Somebody had lit this place up on purpose, and recently too. The ashes were still warm under his boots. "Where's your mama, sweetheart?" The baby's eyes drifted toward the burned ruins, then back to his face. She made a soft cooing sound, like she was trying to answer but couldn't find the words anymore. Jake tucked the envelope inside his coat. Whatever was written there, he'd read it later. "Right now, this little girl needs water and milk and somewhere safe to sleep." "All right then," he said, settling her against his chest. "Looks like it's just you and me." The baby's crying stopped. She pressed her face against his shirt and went quiet, like she'd been waiting for him all along. Jake settled the baby in his saddlebag and pulled out the blood-stained envelope. His hands shook as he tore it open. The letter was written in the same desperate handwriting, ink smeared with tears and worse. "My name is Elena Cartwright. If you're reading this, they killed me like they said they would. Sheriff Hawkins came 3 times, demanding I sign over my land. Said the state needed it for the new railway line. But I know the truth." Jake's jaw tightened. Hawkins, that bastard had been sheriff for 20 years, getting fat off bribes and land deals. The railway is a lie. The governor wants this land for his mining company. Hawkins gets 10% of everything they pull out of the ground. I have documents proving it. They're hidden in the well behind my house. "Son of a bitch," Jake whispered. The baby stirred in the saddlebag, making soft noises. Jake kept reading. "They said they'd burn me out if I didn't sign. I said no." Sheriff Hawkins laughed and said dead women can't own property anyway. He said my baby would make a nice gift for his wife, since she can't have children of her own. Jake's blood turned to ice water. "They wanted you, didn't they, little girl?" The baby's eyes opened, staring right at him like she understood every word. "I'm leaving this letter with my daughter. Whoever finds her, please don't let them take her. Don't trust the sheriff. Don't trust anyone with a badge in this county. They killed me for telling the truth, and they'll kill you too if they find out what you know." Jake folded the letter with trembling fingers. Elena Cartwright was dead because she wouldn't sell her land to corrupt men. And now he was holding the evidence that could hang them all. "We're in deep trouble, aren't we, sweetheart?" The baby reached up with tiny fingers, touching his face. For a moment, Jake could swear he heard a woman's voice whisper, "Protect her." He looked toward the burned cabin, then at the baby. "They want you dead." "And me too now." The baby smiled. Jake was feeding the baby goats milk from his canteen when hoofbeats thundered up the trail. Sheriff Hawkins rode a black stallion, badge glinting in the afternoon sun. Jake tucked Elena's letter deeper into his coat. "Morning, stranger." Hawkins dismounted slowly, hand resting on his gun. "Mind telling me what you're doing on private property?" "Just passing through." Saw the smoke yesterday, thought I'd check for survivors. Find any? Jake shifted the baby to his other arm. Just this little one. Poor thing was crying something fierce. Hawkins stepped closer, his eyes fixed on the infant. That's so. Where'd you find her exactly? About a mile south. Must have crawled away from the fire. Crawled. Hawkins smiled, but it didn't touch his eyes. Baby that small can't crawl a mile, friend. Maybe someone carried her. Hard to say. The sheriff reached out like he wanted to touch the baby's face. The infant recoiled, pressing against Jake's chest with a whimper. Funny thing about babies, Hawkins said. They know who to trust. She's been through hell. Scared of everyone. Everyone except you, apparently. Hawkins circled them like a vulture. You got a name, stranger? Jake Morrison. Well, Jake Morrison, I'm going to need to take that baby off your hands. Why's that? County business. We got procedures for orphans. Jake's grip tightened on the child. She's safe with me. Safe? Hawkins laughed. You're a drifter. Got no business raising a baby. Got more business than most. That sounds like a threat, just stating facts. Hawkins stepped back, hand hovering over his gun. I'll be back tomorrow with proper paperwork. Have her ready. And if I don't, then we'll have ourselves a problem. The sheriff mounted his horse, staring down at them. Really pretty baby. Shame what happened to her mama. You know who she was. Know lots of things, Morrison. Question is, what do you know? Jake met his gaze. Nothing worth sharing. We'll see about that. Hawkins spurred his horse. Tomorrow, Morrison. Don't make me come looking. The sheriff rode away, dust swirling in his wake. Jake looked down at the baby, who was staring after Hawkins with those impossible blue eyes. He's coming for you, isn't he, sweetheart? The baby's tiny hand grabbed his finger. That night, the baby wouldn't stop crying. Jake walked through the ruins of Eleanor's cabin, bouncing her gently, but nothing worked. She kept pointing toward the back of the property with tiny, desperate fingers. What is it, sweetheart? What do you see? The baby's cries grew louder, more urgent. Jake followed her pointing finger through the moonlight until he saw it. An old stone well half hidden by weeds and ash. You want me to look in there? The baby's crying stopped instantly. She stared at the well with those impossible blue eyes, then back at Jake's face. Jake approached the well, slowly. The stone rim was cracked and weathered, covered in soot from the fire. He peered over the edge into absolute darkness. Hello. His voice echoed down into nothing. The baby cooed softly, like she was answering someone Jake couldn't see. Then he heard it, a whisper rising from the depths so faint he thought he'd imagined it. Jake, his blood turned to ice. Elena, take her and run. The voice was clearer now, definitely a woman's voice, soft and desperate. Elena, is that you? They're coming tonight. Not tomorrow, tonight. Jake stepped back from the well, heart hammering. How do you know? I can see them. 3 riders on the north road. The baby reached toward the well, making soft sounds like she was talking to someone. Mama's watching over you, isn't she? Jake whispered. The documents are down there. 20 feet down, wrapped in oilcloth. You'll need them. I can't climb down there with a baby. You have to choose. Save her or save the evidence. Jake looked at the infant in his arms, then back at the dark well. Can't I have both? Not if you want to live. Elena's voice was fading. They'll be here in an hour. Take my daughter and ride west. Don't stop until you reach the mountains. What about the truth? What about justice? Some truths die with the people who know them. The baby started crying again, softer now, like she understood. Elena? Silence. Just whined through the burned timbers and the baby's quiet sobs. Jake made his choice. He turned away from the well and walked back to his horse. Some things mattered more than justice. Some things mattered more than truth. Tonight, a baby's life mattered most of all. Jake was saddling his horse when the hoofbeats came thundering through the night. Not one rider this time. 3, maybe 4. He grabbed the baby and his rifle, heart pounding. Sheriff Hawkins rode into the moonlight with 2 deputies flanking him. Their guns were already drawn. Going somewhere, Morrison? Just thought we'd take a ride. At midnight? With a baby. Hawkins dismounted slow, boots crunching on ash. That's real touching. But I'm afraid your traveling days are over. You said tomorrow. Plans changed. The sheriff stepped closer. See, I got word from the capital tonight. Seems our governor's real interested in that baby you're holding. Jake's blood went cold. Why would the governor care about an orphan? Because she's not just any orphan. Hawkins smiled like a snake. That's Governor Cartwright's granddaughter you got there. You're lying. Elena Cartwright was the governor's bastard daughter. Had her with some whore 30 years ago, kept it quiet. Elena never knew who her daddy was until she started digging into property records. The baby whimpered against Jake's chest, like she could sense the danger. She figured it out, didn't she? Jake said. Figured out her own father was stealing her land. Smart girl. Too smart for her own good. Hawkins gestured to his deputies. Elena threatened to go to the newspapers. Tell everyone how Governor Cartwright was using shell companies to steal homesteads for his mining operation. So you killed her. Governor's orders. Family shame and all that. The sheriff held out his hand. Now give me the baby and whatever Elena left behind. I don't have anything. Don't lie to me, Morrison. Elena was too smart not to leave evidence. Hawkins cocked his gun. Search him, boys. The deputies moved forward. Jake backed toward the well, baby clutched against his chest. You really think the governor's gonna let you live? Jake said. After what you know. I know enough to keep my mouth shut. Elena thought the same thing. Hawkins hesitated for just a moment. Where's the letter, Morrison? Jake pulled Elena's blood-stained note from his coat. Right here. Toss it over. Come and take it. The sheriff raised his gun, pointing it directly at the baby. Don't make me do something we'll both regret. Jake looked down at the infant in his arms. Those blue eyes stared back at him, fearless and trusting. Too late for regrets, Sheriff. Dawn broke across the horizon as Jake stepped backward toward the well. The sheriff kept his gun trained on the baby, but his hands were shaking. Last chance, Morrison. Give me the letter. You want it? Jake held Elena's blood-stained note over the well. Come get it. Don't be stupid. Stupid would be trusting a man who kills women and children. Jake's voice carried across the burned ruins. But I guess that's what the governor pays you for. Hawkins fired a warning shot into the air. Drop the letter. Elena wrote everything down, Sheriff. Every bribe, every land deal, every murder. Jake's voice got louder, like he was talking to someone else. She knew you'd come for her baby, so she made sure the truth would survive. There's nobody here to listen, Morrison. You sure about that? Hawkins looked around nervously. The deputies shifted in their saddles, uncertain. Elena was the governor's daughter, Jake shouted into the morning air. Governor Cartwright killed his own blood to steal her land. Shut up! She's got a right to know who her granddaddy is, don't she? Jake looked down at the baby, who was staring at the rising sun with wide eyes. Her mama died protecting her from family that wanted her dead. Hawkins charged forward, gun raised. Jake dropped the letter into the well and drew his pistol in one smooth motion. 2 shots echoed across the ruins. The sheriff stumbled, clutching his chest. Blood seeped between his fingers as he fell to his knees in the dust. You killed me, he whispered. Elena killed you. I'm just the messenger. Hawkins collapsed face first into the ash and dirt. The deputies looked at each other, then rode away without a word. Jake holstered his gun and looked down at the baby. For the first time since he'd found her, she wasn't crying. Instead, she was reaching tiny fingers toward the golden sunrise, making soft cooing sounds like she was greeting an old friend. Your mama's watching, isn't she? The baby smiled and touched his face with perfect trust.